The armor came in handy. I hit the ground, I rolled, I tumbled, no problem. Unscathed, I lived to ride another day. Are you considering doing something stupid that might hurt your chest, your shoulders, or your spine? Maybe you want to go ride a motorcycle, mountain bike, or like me, a one wheel, because why not? So if you're trying to do something like that, you might be looking at investing in body armor, which is what I wanted to do. So I went online and I couldn't find good information that breaks down the differences between Troy Lee Design's 7850 short sleeved and the Troy Lee Design Stage D3O Ghost upper body base layer armor. There are some big price differences and feature differences, and I just figured I'd buy them both with my own money and see what they're like and then share what I find. I haven't used these yet, I haven't taken any impacts yet, I haven't gone out and really sweated with these yet, but I think just knowing the actual construction differences and the weight differences and everything else will help you if you're in the market for upper body protection for whatever crazy sport you're into. So let's start off talking about the cheaper option. So the Troy Lee Designs 7850 is about $120 and it is super lightweight. It's all foam. It's not using any of the fancy D3O stuff. So when you hold it in your hands, you can tell it's really light. When I put it on the scale, you'll see that it's just about 1.3 pounds. It is pretty lightweight. In my hands, it is quite light. It's all mesh everywhere. The fabric is all mesh. It's got foam padding everywhere. My brother recommended this to me. He lives in Orange County. He mountain bikes. He and his wife use this type of armor, even in the summertime when it gets hot and they're doing a technical trail. My brother said these are great. It works well. It doesn't cause any overheating. Now, let's talk about some of the thickness and some of the protection. So there is protection all around your entire upper body. And that protection is a combination of low and high density foams that again are all perforated and are super, super lightweight. So if you take the chest, for example, you can feel like there's a thicker section here. You might not be able to see it on video, but there's a thicker section and that feels like it's about a ½ inch or maybe 3/4 of an inch thick. And there's definitely like a higher density foam in the thickest portion. And then the whole thing has a lower density foam around it. And it feels like that's how pretty much all the padding is done in the most important areas. Like on the spine, you see the same thing right in here, the centerpiece. There's like a higher density foam. And I think I can even just pop it out here so you can see, right? There's a higher density foam right here to make this lower density foam a little bit stiffer, give you a little extra protection on top of that lower density thick foam, right? And as you can see, it's pretty easy to remove all the padding from different segments. So if you feel like you don't want certain areas protected, then you can take them out. Looks like sometimes it's on the outside, and then maybe this one, I don't know where or how you would remove this one here on the side. It just seems like a total mystery over here. Interestingly enough, it seems like this one piece has no access points, so you couldn't remove the bottom piece for the back of your spine without cutting things open. There is no access point here, but there seems to be access to most of the other areas, but just a couple of them seem like they're not removable. Now the big reason I wanted to get something lightweight is because I'm gonna try using a one wheel for the first time in my life. I surf, I snowboard, and the one wheel is supposed to be like snowboarding, so I'm gonna give it a shot, but I've heard some horror stories. I've heard some things about both user error and potential issues with the battery running out or the motor just being like, hey, I give up, and then people being thrown. And so while I'm trying to get my balance and just get used to using the machine and getting familiar with it, I want to make sure I have some shoulder protection because I don't want to fly forward and smash my shoulder and destroy it. So for that purpose, this actually doesn't seem that great because the shoulder padding is only about maybe a 1/4 inch thick. There's that high density and then low density layering going on, but doesn't feel like that much. And then the rest of the thing is kind of bulky, although when I wear it, it actually doesn't feel too bad because it's super lightweight. And before I put this on so you can see what it's like, I want to do a quick comparison with the Stage D3O Ghost. So the first thing you're going to notice with the Stage D3O Ghost, whatever this thing is called, is that it is significantly heavier and beefier in certain areas. It definitely doesn't have full coverage, right? The belly is fully exposed, the ribs are not protected, but the chest and the spine have some very beefy protection, and the shoulder also really beefy protection. This is a much bigger shoulder cap, and it's much thicker with D3O, which is that magical stuff which is supposed to protect you from all kinds of impact forces and might even make you able to fly. I don't know. But you'll also notice there's a little bit of protection on the sides here that would layer right over your pelvic bone, the ilia right here, so the elephant ears of your pelvis that stick up here. This little thin strip of foam, or maybe it's D3O, I can't really tell, would protect you if you fall down on your side. But again, coming back to the shoulder caps, if you look at these shoulder caps versus the shoulder caps on the 7850, you can see a pretty big difference. They are very different sizes. The shoulder cap on the 7850 is maybe 1/2, 1/3 the size of the shoulder cap of the D3O Stage Ghost, blah, 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 Troy Lee designed Stage Ghost base layer, upper body protection, super long name. And going beyond that, if you actually had some calipers and you could measure this, you could feel that there's a clear thickness difference. The shoulder cap on the Stage D3O upper body armor is probably about a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, but I think it's about a 1/2 inch at its thickest point. It tapers out on the edges, so at the edges it gets much thinner. It's like a little nice tapered beveled edge, but in the center where you want the protection, it's definitely thicker. And the same goes for the chest and the spine. I think the chest is actually about a 1/2 inch thick, and you can see how much it covers of your actual chest. The spinal pad is way thicker. Like it feels like it gets to 3/4 or maybe even a full inch thick. When you do the pinch test, it is fat and beefy all along the spine, and this pad is heavy. Now, again, this thing is clearly heavier than the 7850, and if we put this on the scale, you can see exactly what I see. That is about 2.4 pounds, 2.38 pounds. So it is almost twice as heavy as the 7850 for less overall protection, but more specific areas protected. You'll also see there's a zipper that runs along the side here, which makes it easier to get in and out of this piece of armor. So let's show you how it looks and feels to get in and out of these two pieces of armor. Looks like we gotta unzip to even get the hanger out. All right, so you can cue the blooper music here. All right, got that. All right, so first thing, I'm gonna put on the 7850. My brother has worn this a lot. He says that it doesn't feel too restrictive or bulky, so we'll see whether my brother is right about something for once in his life. All right, so let's not break the microphone. Like a sweater. Not too bad. I wouldn't complain too much about putting it on. And I used to be an ice hockey goalie, so I know what restrictive body armor feels like. I used to live in it. I used to sleep in it when it was brand new. I would lie on the couch and just break in my equipment by lying in this big, bulky 5.5 pound armor. In any case, this is not bulky and restrictive like ice hockey goalie armor. I can move pretty well, actually. There's no restriction going back. There's no restriction going up. There's like maybe the itty bitty tiniest, not even restriction. I just run into that. On the sides, I can definitely feel that there's armor along the sides of my ribs. If for some reason you are trying to really squeeze in tight, this would restrict you very, very slightly. But maybe if you're trying to make orange juice, you could totally stick an orange in here, squeeze it against the high density foam, and you would have an excellent orange juice making machine. If you don't want that padding, then you could take it out, I hope. This one has a little pocket. Yeah, there's a little pocket here where you could take that out. This one also feels like there should be a little pocket. Let's see. Or is this one of the ones that you can't access? A little tough to say while I'm still wearing it. I have to take it off and find out. Belly foams can definitely be removed. I can see that. There's that high density foam. I can just pull this whole piece out if I don't want that to restrict me when I'm bending. Overall though, it breathes really well. All the mesh material is surprisingly good, and the foams, this is similar to some roller hockey armor that I used to wear when I was younger. It had perforated foams, big holes in the foam, reduced the weight, and it breathed really well. Are you going to be hotter than just wearing a t-shirt? Absolutely, but my brother rides in Orange County, and he has used this in the summer, and he said it's really not that big a deal. You feel protected. You feel like if you fall, which he has done, which his wife has done, you are relatively protected, and you're not going to totally destroy yourself. But again, the shoulders, the shoulder cap doesn't feel that big. I know it would protect me somewhat, but I don't know if it would be as much as something like this. Right now, it feels like maybe what the lightest weight solution would be is this, and maybe trying to remove as much armor as possible. Maybe adding a little more shoulder padding. Maybe I could take it out of the D3O Ghost stage thingamabobber. What the heck is this thing called? I can't get the name right. Anyway, now let's imagine that I gotta take this off and I'm all sweaty. So first, microphone comes off, and here we go. Trying to slip out. So one thing about these mesh materials I don't like, it feels like I can rip them really easily, so I'm trying to be gentle. Whew. All right, so it's a bit of a workout to get out of there, and I imagine that if I were sweaty, that would be even harder. And one thing I've read online from reviews is that it's a good idea to wear some kind of base layer under this so you can escape from this thing. Otherwise, I could see this fabric for sure getting stuck to your sweaty skin, and then you feeling like you just have to be cut out by paramedics. So let's do a little closer look at the armor here. You can, in fact, remove that side armor, so all this stuff here can be taken out. And it looks like if you don't like the high chest piece, you can take that out. The middle chest, let's do a little exam. So it looks like the middle chest piece does not come out. If you own this and you have found that it is possible to take out the middle chest, please drop a comment and tell everybody and help us out. And then some of the pieces, yeah, it just seems like some pieces cannot be removed. But like the belly piece, the side ribs seem to come out, the high chest up here, even around the clavicle, there's a couple of pockets here that can come out. The shoulder piece can come out, the upper arm can come out, and then along the spine, it looks like you have the middle of the spine can come out, the top of the spine could come out, but that bottom piece of the spine can't. Along the sides, you can take out some of the low portions, so the piece that would be kind of like off to the side here, it looks like you can take that out. And then there's a higher rib piece that looks like you cannot take that out. So you get some customizability, so you get a little more breathability and less protection, but you will still have some areas like the chest, low spine, and some of your ribs always permanently protected. Now, let's move on to the Stage D3O Ghost upper body base layer armor. All right, so it looks like right off the bat it's going to be easier. I have the zipper undone on this thing. Let me slide this on. Okay, so I'm going to zip this sucker up, and now you can see what I look like, even though I know my shirt looks a little weird. Hang on, let's fix that. Okay, I think that's a little more symmetrical, so it's not going to drive you and me nuts when we are looking at this. So you can see that went on pretty darn easy. That zipper access really helps. Now, as you can see, if you have a little bit of extra weight, perhaps a spare tire around here, this might not be the best choice because this is a very slim athletic fit. It is not going to be very forgiving, and I think you could try to size up to account for that, but I'm pretty sure that wouldn't work too well because then the other proportions would be way off. And you really don't want the proportions to be off on the shoulders and the chest, because if you do, you're not going to have any protection. So know that this is a slim fit item. If you are not slim fit, you probably don't want to wear this. So now let's talk about comfort and ability to move. This feels super easy and nice. I actually barely can feel the chest and the spine protection. I know they're there, but it doesn't really feel like this is a big, heavy piece. I definitely can feel the spine stuff, but it doesn't rub and bother me. My brother, who has a lot of experience with the D3O stuff, was telling me that initially it can feel a little cold and clammy, but then it starts to conform to your body's movements as it gets warmer. That's cool. Chest feels good, doesn't feel restrictive. The only restriction I feel is actually coming up a little bit. I think because of the shoulder pad, it's not segmented. It's one thick, big pad that we saw is bigger than the 7850. As I come up, that pad kind of pushes into my clavicle and into my trapezius muscle here as I come up. So I feel it touching in there, but it doesn't actually stop me from being able to move my arm up here. There's just a little haptic feedback, right? There's just like a little something like poking a little, but it doesn't really, poking is too strong a word. It's not like it hurts or anything. I can just tell that there's something there that's not normally there. But range of motion feels really good, no restrictions. It just feels like I'm wearing a tight shirt right now, which is pretty much what I'm doing. And let's get in a little closer on the shoulder cap. You can see it's coming all the way down to the insertion of my deltoid muscle. And it covers right over the cap of the acromion. So falling down on the acromion process, that's the pointy part of your shoulder, the one that you could actually jam in and just shatter and you would not be happy. That's covered, which is great. In very unscientific test here, can I slam into a wall? Can I hit a wall without my shoulder hurting? And obviously I can't measure the force with which I'm hitting the wall, and I don't want to break the drywall. But the test is just to show that I can actually slam into something and it doesn't really hurt. Now, let's try it into a door, because now I'm not worried about breaking the door. And you can hear that. I'm going pretty good, pretty hard. It doesn't really hurt. Like, I feel a little impact. It's pretty good. Let's try it one more time. That's okay. I went hard on that one, and I'm actually surprised that it didn't hurt. So I'm gonna do that again. Get set. Wow, that's actually impressive. I really like it. Okay, so to be fair, I need to run that same shoulder test, jamming my shoulder into the door using the 7850. So let me take this thing off and see how it feels with the 7850. All right, so let's go here, unzip. Same kind of ungraceful dance. All right, anyway, let's get back to the 7850. Let's see how this feels when you slam it into a door. Whew, all right, again, putting it on, pretty easy. Feels lightweight and definitely more room around the midsection. So if you don't think you can fit a very aggressive slim fit base layer in the Stage D3O Ghost, just get this instead. Start taking out some padding or whatever. There's no way, absolutely no way you're gonna fit a D3O Stage Ghost, because that thing is slim. Okay, so we have the door. We've got the foam padding here. I'm a little bit scared about this because the foam here moves around so much, and it's a small thing, and I can feel like if I hit it at the wrong angle, I'm gonna hit the back of my shoulder bone, which I don't want to do. So I'm just gonna slide that there, and let's start off soft to begin with and see how it goes. All right, not bad. Okay, already it's not as comfortable. I'm not even hitting it as hard. I haven't even gotten to, yeah, okay. So I'm not even going half as hard as I was with the Stage D3O Ghost. I know I don't have an exact measurement of the force here, but like I'm already like even just that much, like I can't push into that. This would protect me some, but my shoulder definitely is way more protected in the D3O. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off and then let's summarize what we've learned today. The first thing we've learned today is that the 7850 is easy to get on and is very lightweight, breathes well, but it is not as easy to get off as the Stage Ghost D3O base layer. The shoulder padding is definitely not as protective as the Stage Ghost D3O, but it does provide you some protection. It also gives you a lot more protection around your entire body. So if that's something you're looking for, this might be a better option. If you have a little more weight around your midsection, this is also definitely the better option because the Stage Ghost D3O is very unforgiving for that. It is definitely a slim fit. If you've got extra weight around your midsection, this zipper and the cut of this is just gonna make it real uncomfortable, I think, to wear. If you have this and you have more weight around your midsection and I'm wrong, please just drop a comment and help somebody else out. But I'm pretty slim and this definitely a slim fit. I would not be comfortable with this if I had another 10 pounds on my belly. This piece of armor prioritizes 3 areas and 3 areas only. That is the chest right in here, the spine, which is all back here, which I assume you know, that's why you're trying to buy armor, and also, finally, the shoulders. It protects these areas quite well. The shoulder impact protection was obviously better just from that shoulder check into the door test. It's clearly better than that. It's way easier to get in and out of, but it does weigh twice as much as the 7850, and it costs about twice as much. So on a per pound basis, they cost about the same, but they do serve different purposes. So figure out what you are looking to protect, why you're looking to protect it, and you decide what's going to work better for you. This, for me, I think is going to be the better choice because it protects the shoulders a lot better than that 7850. I will probably spend a little time looking for maybe a cheaper option since this thing is so expensive. Maybe I can find something that just has the D3O shoulders but doesn't maybe have the super high protection in the chest and the spine, since I think this is made for motocross and I am not going to be driving 30, 40, 50 miles per hour and falling and crashing. I'm going to be doing maybe 15 miles per hour. Whew. So, just got back from my 5th ride, I think, and I'm happy to report that things are going pretty well. I also had my very first full bail, so I was getting a little cocky and started weaving around, in, out, while going pretty fast. And then the board got really wobbly, and then I flew off the board, which is why I'm wearing a helmet, shoulder pads, and I think most importantly, I was wearing elbow pads under this jacket. These are like mountain bike type impact pads, and I didn't get hurt, didn't feel a thing, not a scratch. I'm also wearing my hip pads, my Stage Ghost D3O base layer pads, and I did hit my hip on the ground a little bit, but it doesn't hurt at all. I just hit and rolled and everything's good. So I'm getting faster, I'm feeling more balanced on my turns, and I'm getting cocky. So now it's starting to get dangerous and I really do need to keep wearing my pads. Looking at the app is super interesting because the top speed I hit was 19.1 miles per hour. You can see it spiked really high there and then it suddenly went down to 0. I think that's right where I hit my max cockiness and then the board went flying. I'm not sure if I actually hit 19 or if that's just from it actually flying. Based on how fast it spiked, I'm thinking it's just because the board went flying and I went flying. The armor came in handy. I hit the ground, which is fine because Everything was protected. D3O pads are underneath these jeans and they protected my hips really well. I rolled, I tumbled, no problem. Unscathed, I lived to ride another day. Anyway, let me know which of these seems like a better fit for you. Drop a comment down below, and if I have helpful links, I will put them in the description box. Again, I paid for these myself. I'm not an affiliate of anybody's, but if I do find a way to become an affiliate of one of the companies that sells these things and you want to help support me, I will drop a link in the description box at some point in the future. I appreciate your help and your support. You can feel free to send me a donation via PayPal if you'd like. Appreciate your support. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and until next time, remember to keep it simple.